Seattle police say someone who was trying to carjack a person in the Belltown neighborhood is actually in the hospital with serious gunshot wounds after the person who owned the vehicle fired a weapon they legally own.
If you drive a nice car and you don't carry a gun, you're an idiot. If you drive that nice car around at night without a gun, you're an even bigger idiot. And here's why.
SPD says this all happened at about 3:30 this morning along First Avenue.
So four masked men roll up thinking it's going to be easy, but they just picked the wrong target. They picked a target who was armed.
This is the victim's sports car. Police say that person parked it along First Avenue when a white sedan with four other people inside wearing masks approached him. They talked for a bit, but then two men armed with guns tried to steal his car. Police say that man was fearing for his safety. He fired multiple rounds, hitting one of the suspects.
That's the great equalizer. Four armed men, one armed citizen, and suddenly the math changes.
Police say the other people in the vehicle took off before officers could get there. During the investigation, police say a white sedan dropped off a second suspect at Harborview Medical Center, also suffering from a gunshot wound.
When you introduce a firearm into the mix, the predators remember something real quick. They don't want to die either.
Seattle PD talked to the victim, a 24-year-old licensed gun owner, and recovered his gun.
Exactly how it should go. Guy gets ambushed, defends himself, cooperates, goes home. That's defensive gun use 101. I tell people this all the time. If you drive a nice car and you don't carry a gun, it's just stupid. Gone are the days where criminals only target the rough side of town. Those days are over. We live in a world where transportation is easy. You can get across the city in 20 minutes. So just because you live in a good area doesn't mean you're safe. Criminals travel, crime travels, and guess what? Your car is the GPS. That shiny paint job and loud exhaust just put a bullseye on your back and you didn't even know it.
We have some updates just into the King 5 newsroom from Seattle police about that attempted carjacking we told you about that happened early Sunday morning in Belltown. I got these details from the PIO and I want to share them with you. The victim, the owner of that red sports car, has been identified as a 24-year-old man. This is that car. We'll show it to you again. As we reported on Sunday, the victim, the owner of that red sports car, did fire a weapon at those suspects when they were trying to steal his car. According to police, he is a legal gun owner. That suspect who was shot at the scene has been identified as a 14-year-old boy. He remains at Harborview Medical Center with multiple gunshot wounds. Another suspect that we told you about who was dropped off at the hospital has been identified as a 20-year-old man. SPD also noted to me that this is being looked at as a defense against a violent crime. Any charges that are going to be formally brought forward against the suspects will be decided by the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. SPD, again, investigating this as an attempted carjacking happening Sunday morning. Those two suspects are in the hospital.
I'm a car guy. I love cars. I understand the passion. But the reality is, when you're behind the wheel of something nice, you're a walking target. You don't even have to be showing off. Just existing in that car makes you a potential payday for somebody desperate enough. And don't fool yourself. Most of these guys aren't even after your car. They're after what comes with the car, the cash, the jewelry, the watch, the stuff that screams, this guy probably has money. That's what they want, liquidity. The car just tells them you've got it. So if you can afford to drive it, you should damn sure afford to protect yourself while you're in it. I'm not saying don't enjoy your success. I'm saying understand the world we actually live in. This guy got attacked by four armed men in Seattle, not Texas, not Florida, Seattle. And still he handled business, because when you carry, you give yourself a chance. Without that gun, the story ends totally different. So if you're rolling around at night thinking it'll never happen to me, you're lying to yourself. This guy didn't get lucky, he got prepared. And this is the part I don't think a lot of people get. Criminals don't have side of town anymore. They're mobile, they move, they hunt whatever opportunity lives. So when people say, oh, I live in a nice neighborhood and I'm fine, I live in a good area of town. Nah, you're actually just convenient. Transportation, like I said, is easy. A car, a bus, a train. Crime travels faster than common sense these days. And when you're driving a nice car, congratulations, you just announce yourself as the main character in someone else's robbery plan. Now, I'm not saying don't have nice shit. I'm the last person who's gonna say that. I love cars again. I live for cars, literally. But if you're gonna enjoy the fruits of your labor, you need to live in the reality in which you enjoy the fruits of your labor. Driving a nice car doesn't make you untouchable. It makes you visible. It makes you a walking, rolling billboard that says there's money in here. And that's exactly what these 4 idiots in Seattle thought when they saw this guy's car. They weren't chasing random beat-up sedans in an alley. They saw something flashy, saw an opportunity, and decided to act. That's why I always tell people, if you're gonna drive something that turns heads, make sure you can protect yourself when one of those heads decides to follow you home. Because here's what happens in most carjackings. The criminal thinks you're soft. They think you'll do the smart thing and give up, hands up, hope for mercy. That's the predator's plan. But what they don't plan for, what they never plan for, is a victim who's armed and prepared. That's when the script flips. And that's what happened here. 4 masked guys armed, ready to take this man's car. And one gun changed everything. You can't fight for men with hope. You fight for men with training, awareness, and the will to live. And you do that with a gun. That's why I say if you drive something nice, you need to carry something nice. A gun is not an accessory, it's a part of a kit. If you can afford the car, you can afford the training that comes with it. Learn how to draw from a seated position. Learn where you can and can't shoot through the car. Learn what's cover and what's concealment. Your engine block will stop a bullet. Your door panel, probably not. Know the difference. You spend all of this money customizing your ride, spend a little customizing your skill set. You'll get window tint, ceramic coating, but won't invest in learning how to defend yourself in that car? That's wild to me, and I have friends who are literally exactly who I'm talking about. Tint is actually great though. Tint is actually pretty good. It adds privacy, but it also adds a layer of protection in a sense. It's like concealment. If people can't see you, they can't plan against you. Criminals are like predators in the wild. They look for weaknesses, patterns, visibility. You make it harder for them to gather intel, and half the battle's kind of already done when you do have really dark tint, which is why I can't stand tint laws, but that's a whole nother matter. But here's the thing. Even though this guy did everything right, I'm not glorifying the gunfight. Nobody wants to pull a gun at 3 a.m. in the morning. But when that moment finds you, you better have made the decision ahead of time, because when it happens, you don't rise to the occasion. You will fall to the level of training or no training. And that's why I respect this case so much, because it shows the difference between being paranoid and being prepared. One is fear, the other is foresight. So here's the takeaway. If you're gonna drive something that gets attention, make sure you're ready for the kind of attention you don't want. Also, carry your gun, train with your gun, and stop pretending you're safe because your car has good insurance. Insurance replaces a vehicle. A firearm saves lives. And that's exactly why USCCA sponsors this channel, because what happened in Seattle is the reality of carrying a gun. You don't get to pick when danger finds you, but you can decide how prepared you'll be when it does. USCCA isn't just about coverage after a shooting. They're about education before it. They teach you the laws, the mindset, and the real-world scenarios so that when a split-second decision hits, you already know where the legal lines are. Because here's the truth. If that Seattle driver had made one wrong move, fired a second too soon, or said the wrong thing to the cops afterwards, his life could have gone from self-defense to a criminal charge overnight. That's where USCCA steps in. They give you the legal protection, the financial backing, and the training to handle everything that comes after pulling the trigger, so you can focus on staying alive during it. So if you carry a gun or you're thinking about it, I'm gonna put a link in the description section for you to check out USCCA, because surviving the attack is only half the battle. Surviving the aftermath, now that's where USCCA has your back. One thing's for certain and 2 things are for sure. Politicians and tech giants don't want gun content to be recommended to you. And we're all fighting this culture war together. Now you can help do your part by liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, but most importantly, sharing this video with at least one person. Together we can stop the suppression of our 2A rights. And don't forget to click the link in the description section of this video for the products that I mentioned in this video.